The desert stretched out endlessly before me, a vast expanse of sand and stone under the merciless sun. I had come here seeking solitude, a chance to escape the noise and chaos of the city life. Little did I know the desert held secrets far older and darker than I could have imagined. This happened to me few years back. The decision to go on this journey came after a tired and boring month at work. I needed a break, a chance to rest my mind and reconnect with the nature. The southwest seemed like a perfect destination. Its wild beauty and rugged terrain promised a stark contrast to the urban jungle I was used to. Armed with a backpack filled with the essentials, a tent, and a map of the remoter desert trails, I set out from my rented cabin on the outskirts of small Arizona town. The sun was just beginning to rise over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the landscape as I drove deeper into the desert. The road eventually gave way to a dusty trail that wound through the rocky hills and scrubby old trees. I parked my car at the trailhead marked with a weather-beaten sign, the only indication that humans had ventured this far into the wilderness. I shouldered my backpack and set off on foot, following the trail as it meandered through the narrow canyons and across dry creek beds. The silence was palpable, broken only by the occasional call of a distant bird or the whisper of the wind through the spare vegetation. Hours passed in solitude as I hiked deeper into the desert, the sun climbing higher in the sky with each step. The heat was oppressive, but I welcomed the physical exertion. It helped clear my mind of the stress and worries that had plagued me in the recent weeks. As midday approached, I found a shaded alcove beneath an overhanging rock to rest and eat a small lunch that I already packed in my backpack. The coolness of the shadow was a welcoming relief from the sun, and I took the opportunity to consult my map and plan the rest of my route. According to the map, there was a secluded canyon not far from my current location, a place known for its ancient secrets and rumored to be haunted by spirits of the past. Intrigued by the prospect of exploring such a historic site, I decided to alter my course slightly and make way toward the canyon. The trail to the canyon was rough and overgrown, evidence that few travelers venture this way, but the promise of discovering something ancient and mysterious drove me forward, my curiosity outweighing any apprehension I felt about exploring such a remote area alone. As I descended to the canyon, the temperature dropped noticeably, the rocks walls casting deep shadows that seemed to swallow the sunlight. The air was thick with the scent of sagebrush and juniper, mingling with the faint aroma of dust and ancient stone. I followed the trail deeper into the canyon, the walls narrowing until they loomed overhead like ancient sentinels. Occasional glimpses of drawings on the canyon wall, ancient artwork left behind by the indigenous people who once called this land home. Each image told a story of hunting, spiritual rituals, and the cycle of nature, life, and death. As I rounded a bend in the trail, the canyon opened up into a small clearing dotted with weathered boulders and twisted juniper trees. In the center of the clearing stood a cluster of rock formations, natural pillars that rose from the desert floor, looked like the remains of a forgotten civilization. It was here that I first sensed something amiss. A subtle shift in the air, a feeling of being watched from unseen eyes. I paused, my senses on high alert as I scanned the clearing for any sign of any movements. The desert seemed eerily still, as if holding its breath in anticipation. A low growl echoed through the canyon, sending a chill down my spine. It was a sound unlike anything I ever heard before, a primal, animalistic sound that seemed to reverberate through every rock beneath my feet. Instinct screamed at me to turn back and retreat to the safety of the trail, but curiosity held me rooted to the spot. A sudden movement caught my eye, a shadow fitting between the boulders at the edge of the clearing. I strained to see through the dappled light, my heart pounding in my chest. There, amidst the rock, stood a figure, a silhouette that seemed to be blent with the surrounding shadows. Its form shifting and indistinct. Fear gripped me as I realized what I was witnessing. A skinwalker, a creature of Navajo legend, known for its ability to take any form of animals and human alike. I had heard tales of these beings, warning passed down through generations to those who dare to venture too far into the desert's embrace. The creature moved with an unnatural grace, its movements fluid and predatory, its eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, fixed on me with an intensity that made my blood run cold. I fumbled for the small knife tucked into my belt, its reassuring weight a stark reminder of my vulnerability in the face of such a creature. The skinwalker emitted another growl, louder this time, as if challenging my presence in its domain. I stood my ground, my hands trembling slightly as I held the knife in front of me like a talisman against the unknown. Sweat trickled down my spine despite the coolness of the canyon air, my senses overwhelmed by the primal fear that gripped me. Minutes stretched into eternity as we stared each other down, a silent standoff between human and beast. The skinwalker's form shimmered, then flickering between human and animal, a grotesque fusion of both that defied the law of nature. It seemed uncertain whether to approach or retreat, caught in the liminal space between curiosity and caution. I took a step backward, my eyes never leaving the creature before me. The skinwalker's gaze followed my movement, its expression unreadable yet filled with an ancient wisdom that transcended mortal understanding. The tension in the air was palpable, a charged silence that hung between us like a veil. With a final piercing stare, the skinwalker turned and melted back into the shadows from whence it came. Its departure was swift and silent, leaving behind only the echo of its growl and the lingering ascent of desert sage. The clearing seemed to exhale in relief, the oppressive atmosphere dissipating like smoke on the wind. I stood there for a long while, my heart still racing and my mind reeling from the encounter. Eventually, I gathered my wits and retraced my steps back to the main trail, every rustle of the leaves and creak of branches sending fresh waves of apprehension through me. As I emerged from the canyon into the fading light of dusk, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had glimpsed something ancient and malevolent, a creature born of the wilderness itself, a testament to the untamed depth of the world we so often overlook. To this day, I carry the memory of that encounter like a shadow in the corner of my mind, a reminder that there are forces in the world that defy explanation, that lurk just beyond the edges of our understanding, waiting for the unwary to stray too close into their domain. And though I have returned to the desert many times since then, I tread lightly, always mindful of the unseen Isis that watches from the shadows and whispered warning that linger in rustling leaves. So, if you ever going anywhere solo, be cautious. You don't know what rustling behind the bushes and watching you behind from a tree or a boulder. So be careful out there. Hello guys, this is Malayaliwendigo. If you like this story, please consider subscribing to this channel and check out other videos in this channel too. And if you have any comments or any suggestions and any improvements I need to make in this channel, please feel free to post them in the comment section. So, see you in the next video. Till then, be safe. Bye.